Hey, welcome. Welcome to the Coaching Domination Show where I, Ankit Ahuja, your host, brings you the inside knowledge and behind the scenes of the top coaches, trainers, and consultants. I publish interview of them so that I can show exactly what they are doing to succeed. I also share straight to the point tips that helps you get new clients, structure your business, sell your service, build your audience, connect and communicate with your customers, and more. So, ladies and gentlemen, continuing the tradition of bringing top class trainers on the show, today we have one of the best leadership trainer based out of Bangalore, Mr. Rajnikant, with us here. A brief introduction about him: he has around 18 years of industry experience in behavioral training, project management, and people development. Prior to starting his training company, he was a people manager with SAP Labs India for 11 years. His company, Win Win Leadership Academy, provides behavioral programs and helps people discover their true potential, their true themselves. Being a certified facilitator, Rajni has trained more than 7,000 people on various skills and topics and conducted workshops in India, USA, and Middle East. He has also authored two life changing books. Recently, Rajni represented India as a speaker at SME World Summit, Dubai, speaking on what lies below the iceberg. Now, I met Rajni at BNI, which is a business networking platform, almost 5 years back. And at that time, he helped me a lot to figure out the training market in Bangalore back then. Hello, Rajni, and welcome to today's podcast. How are you today?
All well, Ankit. Thank you so much for inviting me to your podcast. I feel really honored and privileged to be a part of it. Thank you so much for inviting.
Welcome, most welcome, Rajni. Rajni, being a corporate employee to being an established entrepreneur, how is the journey so far?
I think the journey is definitely exciting. When I look back, I never thought I will actually move to an entrepreneurship, but now I think it is worth a risk which I actually took and really relishing the joys. So I think the best part of my career was the last 6 years after I became an entrepreneur. So I think it is a journey must try,
Last six
and I'm
years, what
loving
did you
it.
do? Great. What happened last 6 years?
I think last 6 years was a journey because you were venturing into an unknown zone, and you were very comfortable earlier working in such a great company like SAP where they give you everything whatever you want, and you have to really leave out of the comfort zone and march into a new zone. So all this becomes a very critical aspect, Ankit.
So, Rajni, what made you leave your comfort zone, working in a corporate, getting a good monthly salary, to start something on your own?
See, what made me was I thought working in a corporate, I was not able to touch many people. Although I was into a technical job and then after became a people manager and so on, I was not able to really make an impact, a bigger impact, apart from the four boundaries of the company. So I thought if I want to really make a bigger impact, I have to really venture out and start doing things on my own. And my aim is really to bringing out the best in people and help people move from one level to the next level. So that was my key objective, and that's my passion too. And I thought to pursue my passion, I should really come out of the boundaries. So that made me quit my job and start my own company. Okay.
Amazing, amazing. So, Rajni, a lot of people actually they live this kind of lifestyle, where they actually uh, go to school, get ready for corporates, and then work in job, and then just live that kind of lifestyle. I'm not saying it's a bad life to live in, but you had a separate set of objective, and then you pursued that. So, uh, what happened? How did this purpose came into your life?
See, from my college days, I had a lot of interest for teaching. So definitely, I would have become a professor if I have not got placed. So after my engineering, I got placed. When companies come and take you, and you never know why you're taking up the job because at that point of time, all you need is a job.
Hmm.
So I took it on the
Yeah.
flow. I joined a company called Satyam Computers in Hyderabad. Worked for 3 years. Not very happy in technical job. Then came back to Bangalore, joined SAP. And after a point of time, I felt that I'm more close to people than technology. So I took a people career path within SAP where you have to really manage people, help them improve performance from one level to another level. I started enjoying it. And then I discovered that my biggest strength and the interest was lying in helping people to get developed. So then I discovered that as my very core passion area. So whenever I interact with people, I get a wow out of it. So then putting these two circles together, the passion for teaching and the passion for helping people to grow, when they're intersecting beautifully, it is into the space of leadership and management space. So I thought I should become a consultant, I should become a leadership expert, and then make a strong difference with people, because my passion was teaching and making a difference with respect to people. And that time also I found that, especially in India, we are always relying on trainers and consultants from outside the country. And we always give a lot of due credit, but I think we have huge talent. We have the great knowledge base here. So I thought, why can't we, an Indian trainer making a great difference to our own country and the world? So that was my aim of moving out from a corporate job to entrepreneurship.
Nice, nice, amazing, Rajni. Now seeing this entrepreneurial journey over the years, what have been some of your key struggles or key failures, key lows, and what lesson came out of it?
The biggest lesson is being a good trainer is not enough to survive. And I think most of us are good trainers. So that was my key lesson. So having a hold on the content, hold on the delivery, being able to engage the audience. I think most of us do, to be very frank, and that's a skill which can be developed. But most of the trainers, what they lack is selling this to the right people. I think the selling skills are the important aspect which we miss. So my simple formula is, if you're not a salesperson, you cannot succeed in the training industry. So you have to have a beautiful combination of being a good salesperson as well as being an excellent trainer. Only this combination will work. I've seen many trainers without having a perspective for sales. They actually venture into training and they fail and miserably and go back to the corporate world. So very simple line, if you're not a sales guy, you can't succeed in training industry.
Amazing, Rajni. This is what I have been telling people for so long. Like from the time I started my own training and from the time I became a business coach, I keep interacting with so many business owners who have that passion of, creating their service, creating their product, and they are so in love with their product and service that that's where they want to be, and
Yeah.
forgetting that if you want to be an entrepreneur, selling is something which you have to excel at. And I keep telling people, people who interact with me and people who ask me saying that, okay, how do I become a trainer? And if I ask them, so if I see that, okay, they want to escape selling, then I just recommend them saying that join a company, become a trainer as a job, like join a company. There's a lot
Absolutely.
of requirement of trainers in corporates also.
Absolutely. Completely agree with you, Ankit. Completely agree with you. Absolutely.
And Rajni, I see that, a lot of trainers, they actually struggle at this part, selling themselves, right? People figure out that there is a need of this kind of training. They create their own training material. They come out with nice content, but then they struggle at sales. So any suggestions for those people there?
See, I think wherever we struggle, we have to take help. I think a very simple logic which I follow. When I did not know driving, I had a driver coach, somebody coaching me towards driving. So when I want to really improve my fitness, I had a health coach. So you have coach for health, you have coach for driving, you have coach for any new skills. I think it is important to have a life coach like you, Ankit, right? So I think coaching becomes extremely important to take support. For me, the biggest support was my mentor. So just because of this one person who agreed to mentor me, my entire life got changed. And he's the person who first told me that it is important for a trainer to wear different hats. When you're training, you're a trainer. All the other time, you have to be a sales guy. And it is like learning a new skill altogether. Parenting is a new skill, right? Nobody is being taught on how to become parents. On the other side, we just don't become parents just because we have a kid. Parenting is also another very important skill. So like that, sales is also an important skill. So I would request that please take support, get skilled on the training skills, on especially the sales and marketing angle. It is a very important aspect. It is not about how good you are. I think people from outside should know that how good you are. Unless that equation is actually matched, I don't think we'll be able to excel in this market.
Very true, very true. In fact, guys, if you're listening to this, do remember selling is extremely important. And as Rajni said, get help, learn it. Now, I have been into hardcore selling for 13 plus years. I've worked with companies like Microsoft, Cisco, and both in India and abroad. And I know how sales works. And my first training was into sales training. And actually, for 3 years, I was a sales trainer. I was doing a lot of sales training before I became a business coach. So I have my group link below this. If you're listening this on a podcast or my website, you will find the link. If you're listening on YouTube, you'll find the link below. Do join my Facebook group, because there I keep adding these value nuggets about different things. And because I have been doing sales training for a long time, I keep putting the content out there for that also. And come and join that group and ask any question in the group, so that when you ask a question, even other people, they learn from your question, and I can respond to that question, and everybody can have a win-win situation.
Absolutely. That's a
In
wonderful
fact,
forum, Ankit.
yeah, thank you, Rajni. In fact, if you can also join that group, and one day come and just share your thoughts for trainers as to what you feel they should do, then that can also add a lot of benefit in that group.
Definitely. And just one more point to add for friends who are listening to this: sales is not rocket science. It's all about common sense, and we're just learning common sense with a structure. That's all is all about sales. I was zero in sales 6 years back, but right now I think we have one of the biggest clients like Walmart, Cisco, Adobe, HPE, Visa.com, SAP Labs. So a lot of big clients, just because I started learning on the sales angle and implementing. So being a good salesperson plus being a very impactful trainer is a powerful combination.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you, Rajni. I think we've been speaking a lot about sales training, but I want to find out more about what you do from your organization. Do you do sales training also? Because I know you are into leadership trainings. Can you throw more light on that?
Yeah. So from the organization point of view, we're primarily into the leadership space. So we consult organizations. We do something called organizational development, where you actually scale up organizations across multiple levels. So been interacting with some of the clients which I already spoke to you about. So primarily on the leadership interventions, which we do. All these are customized interventions, which can actually derive results. So we also measure ROI, return on investment, from every intervention which we do. And second, which we do something called as organizational development, helping organizations to scale across multiple levels. Third, we also do something called one-to-one coaching, especially with the leadership teams. So these are the three aspects on what we are focusing right now in our organization.
Great, great. What's your vision of your company, Rajni?
See, as part of the company, I think the vision is to really make a bigger impact to many people. And so we don't, I mean, the whole idea is, especially with this new context of new normal, which is setting in, where virtual is coming a big way, I think the probability of making a greater impact across the world is much higher. So I'm looking at, touching many people, and people recognizing that, okay, someone can, India also can make a difference. So that's one of my focus and objectives.
Any secrets you can share with the audience from what training you deliver? Insider secret.
Can you please rephrase the question, Ankit, once again?
So I'm saying you deliver trainings related to leaderships and things like that. So any insider secrets you can share with the audience here from the process of meeting the clients and delivering the ROI based trainings from that point of view?
The whole secret is, according to me, is a very important question of why to deliver this training. I think there are two perspectives to look like. One is when I'm going to answer this question as why I have to really deliver the training. I've delivered the training because everybody will have to recognize me, and then everybody should appreciate me. I should get more business. That's one way of looking at the answer to why. The second answer to why is making a real impact and making a difference to people's lives. So I think if I'm going to ask you, why are you into consulting space, and why are all of you into the training space? And if you want to answer this question of why, what will be your answer? So my take is, if you are in the first category, that I want to train because I want to get a good name, I want to make a lot of money, I want to increase my business, then I think we will fall out. If you're on the other side, where I want to really make an impact, I want to make a small difference, I want to really help that person genuinely to move from one level to another level. If we focus on that, according to me, the other things will actually fall in place. The first 2 years was terrible failure because I was really focusing on myself as a trainer, but then I really changed the direction on focusing on really helping people, the true intention. And believe me, as you see the board behind, what goes around comes around. It actually came back multiple folds. So the business will start flowing in. So my question is to have the clarity on why you want to become a trainer, why you want to consult something, and why do you want to do what you want to do?
I also can't emphasize enough on this topic, Rajni. There was a time when actually I was in that two mind saying that, okay, what do I want to do? And at that time, I'm talking about many years back. I didn't have that kind of maturity, which I know right now. I didn't have that kind of experience. And at that time, my why was just money at that time. And I'm sure a lot of people have that, like they are struggling in their life. And when you struggle in the life and you don't have the finances to meet up, the number one reason becomes money. And many people actually want to just go into training thinking that there's a lot of money in that. But even when I interacted with you, I saw that you came with a selfless attitude of just helping me out. And a lot of people I see that they don't do like that. When we approach to other people, we feel that, okay, the other people, they will somewhere pitch in themselves, they will try to sell their services. And I have seen it, like I have met some people where when we reach out for feedback or for suggestions or for help, they sort of say that, okay, come and join me and buy this thing from me. And but when I interacted with you, you had this kind of selfless attitude. Even you helped me to attend some free trainings with your mentor, where I learned a lot and the mind got that clear. But any suggestion for those people who are just running behind money right now and the why is not that clear?
Yeah, see, the idea is I'm not saying that you should not earn money. In fact, on the other side, training business can give you a lot of money, but the money will come when there's a true give. So I think if the why is not clear, you have to really re-question whether you want to really go into this particular industry, because this is a highly uncluttered, my view, for a program which I'm doing. Say, suppose a program like Crucial Conversations, and there are people who charge 5,000 per day to a person who will charge 2 lakhs per day for the same program. And it will be difficult for you to really take your position in the whole market. And it's all flooded because people think that this is the only profession where investment is not required, and if you talk well, you can become a trainer or a consultant. But actually not true. I think the passion, the intent drives more than skill, in my view. Skill can be learned after the point of time. So the intention, if it's not clear, the why is not clear, I think you have to really question whether you want to really take up this particular position or profession. Read the book called by Simon Sinek. It's a beautiful book called Ask Why or something.
Why? The power of which speaks about the golden circle.
Yeah, golden circle talks about Simon Sinek. Yes, start with why. Yes.
Yes, start with why. Okay, I'll leave the link below if you want to purchase it. And Rajni, 5 years back, I remember I approached you saying, Rajni, I want to become a trainer like you. Any suggestions for me? And people who are watching this, any suggestions for them? What should they do right
now? Right now, luckily, the world has come back and everybody's in the same state now. So the trainers were actually flying high. Everybody's into the same state. I'll tell you why. Because the whole norm for training industry is just change the opposite. Classroom trainings are going to be extremely less. It's going to be highly on virtual programs. And virtual program, if you're a classroom trainer, there is no assumption that you can be a good virtual trainer. Not at all. Because the skill for virtual is completely different from a skill for classroom. And everybody's learning now. And in this next 6 months, in this next 8 months, if you can master the art of learning, how do you really teach powerfully through virtual programs? Believe me, the market is going to be flooded, because there'll be a lot of companies that are going to approach people who are master in this particular category. On the other side, if you don't accept it and if you really fail or take time to really move, I think we'll be washed away. In my view, at least 40 to 50% of the training and consultant people will go back to their work or they will switch jobs because they will be unable to survive this tough time. But if you're able to sail through this tough time, believe me, your market is going to be extremely wide and huge.
Amazing. So, guys, as Rajni said, the times are changing, and I was just watching news and some video where they were mentioning, saying that the effect of this time is going to be for the next 100 years. And what Rajni said, saying that master the art of virtual trainings. Now, Rajni, do you do anything for that? Do you teach people on that? Anything?
Yes. We are teaching a train the trainer program for virtual programs, because the techniques of virtual is so different from classroom. A simple example is in classroom, you can run activities, you can do some role plays, you can actually make people participate, but here you cannot do anything like that. but still you have to engage them. And in 90 seconds, in 5 seconds, if you're not able to engage, people will actually walk off. So what are the techniques of becoming an effective virtual trainer? We are doing a small course, so if you're interested, probably you can contact us.
Okay. Guys, I will leave the link below how you can get in touch with Rajni for the same. And what Rajni is saying is absolutely the truth. I mean, I had done multiple trainings, and when I became a business coach, and there was a group of entrepreneurs who need to be taught online, virtually on Zoom. And my first webinar, which I did, I couldn't manage so much what was happening. Like the technology part was a little easy for me, but still there's a chat on one side, there is the sharing screen on one side. Somebody was drawing something, and I had to figure out how to like disable that. And I can only see like three people on the screen apart from me, but there were like hundreds of people who had joined the webinar, and the only way I can see was to scroll next. And when I was focusing on that, I was uh, forgetting my chain of thoughts. So it was multiple things which I had to manage, and only after doing 5 or 6 or 7 webinars, I became very easy doing that. So because when you're asking a question, you cannot get a feedback. You're only seeing three people, and let's say if out of these three people, people are busy checking their phone or just talking to someone, you feel that okay, are you actually creating an impact or not? What you're saying, people are listening or not? So you have to, instead of asking, okay, raise your hands or seeing their faces, you ask, okay, type yes or type no. And that way, if you ask too much to type, people will not respond. Any
Yes.
any
Yes.
any tips here from your program, Rajni? Any tips for people here?
Only one aspect: engagement and participation are two different things. Uh, for example, if we are seeing a movie, are you participating in the movie? We are not. Are you engaged? Yes. You're watching a match, cricket match, IPL match. Are you participating? No. Are you engaging? Are you getting engaged? Yes. Which means engagement and participation are two different things. Participation is normally high in the classroom programs, but engagement has to be extremely high in the virtual programs. So, what are the tips for engagement? I think storytelling, powerful storytelling, that people cannot even take their eye out of the camera. I think that will really help in terms of engagement. Second important aspect is the concept. The concept has to be new to them. Otherwise, they will Google the concepts, right? And then they will say, just walk away in the middle of when you're actually teaching. The concept, you have to innovate on the concepts too. Third important aspect is you cannot make them participate very often, as Ankit beautifully said. They don't like, because a person, group behavior is completely different from an individual behavior. In a classroom, everybody will be forced to listen to you because others are listening to you. But in a virtual, there's an individual behavior. They might just say, my internet was not working, and they can walk off from the whole aspect. So here, I think you have to really understand some of the techniques of engagement. And there are many tools. I use tools like mentimeter.com, where you can run a direct poll, and then people can take the poll and then come back. Zoom has a lot of functionalities, including a poll, breakout rooms. So using those small techniques in terms of driving the content will be some of the value adds. In short, content has to be extremely great in a virtual program, and it has to be new. So innovation plays a very key role here.
I see you have started delivering your content now to corporates using online methods. How is it?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. What are the advantages of online? People across the world can attend. So, what is the second advantage of online? Many number of people can attend. I think this is a boon for corporates because they can show the number of registrations happening for a company, and many people can benefit. And people don't have patience right now to do a one-day program. So everybody is looking at the nutshell program. According to me, I think there are advantages and disadvantages of both. It is like reading a Kindle book and a hard copy of a book. Some of you will see that I don't get the feel of a hard copy. But the question is, do you have enough space in your house to store all the books? If not, this question is totally irrelevant, isn't it, according to me? So then Kindle becomes the most important, appropriate device at this point of time. So more than being comfortable, I think appropriateness becomes a very important question to be asked. I think virtual is going to really answer that. Yes, as a trainer or a consultant, mindset have to change. You don't see people, but still you have to give that energy. You can't see people, but still you have to make them understand. They will not respond to you, but still you have to really pull them into the whole topic. I think that is the art and science of the virtual training. That's why I'm saying it's a new skill. So it is not definitely a skill which can be carried on from the classroom. In In fact, in my view is, as a trainer, you have to unlearn a lot of things from the classroom approach. That's why people who are starting, it's a great thing for you because you're starting with everybody. And there's a lot of scope, you can scale up much faster.
Nice, nice. And as you mentioned, you are doing something on that. So we can leave the link here so people who are interested, they can get connected with you on that.
Yes, yes. We'll be very happy to support.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you, Rajni. In fact, completely I agree with you. Saying that it's a new skill, and people who are just starting up, it's actually advantage for them because they are just directly jumping in and learning the new skill. Compared, and they are in competition with people who are used to doing traditional trainings. So for the people who are used to doing traditional trainings, there will be some kind of unlearning and relearning required. But for people who are just starting up, it's a good thing that they'll be just jumping in the ship.
Absolutely.
So Rajni, if you're a trainer, if you're a coach, if you're a consultant, and if you have mentioned that on your Facebook profile, you keep getting bombarded with a lot of ads because a lot of people are doing programs for trainers, coaches, like a lot of marketing people, they are actually focusing on that. I mean, look at me. Even I say that, okay, this program is for trainers, coaches, and consultants. But a lot of people who are, let's say, good at technical stuff, let's say Facebook marketing, websites, and things like that. Although, I also provide that, but people who are just passed out of college and they're learning that, they are teaching these kind of things to trainers, coaches, and the way to reach out is through Facebook marketing. Are you also getting bombarded with all these ads?
Yes, yes, very much, very much. See, like how the training and consultants people are flooded, no? In every 3% you can find one trainer and consultant. Similarly, out of every 3 people, you can also find one another digital marketing person and who does online courses. So the market is hugely flooded. Very difficult to really filter out. I think by reaching the right contacts, it is important to get at least tagged or network to the right person. Otherwise, I think we'll be lost in the whole aspect. Too many ads everywhere, Ankit. So that's why whenever I need support, I reach out to you, especially from the sales angle of training and consulting.
Thank you, Rajni. What are your thoughts? How somebody creates their own space? How somebody creates their own name in this so much crowded market?
See, I think it is like how I spoke about sales. It is important to have a digital presence for the trainers and consultants because this is the future. So I think digital presence always happens in different mediums. I think we have now Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. I think all of us know about it. But I think digital presence is not about one time. It is an investment to make initially. I think it is a beautiful investment and must-have investment to make so that people know that we are doing something. People might not even respond to our posts, that's still fine, but you're occupying something called as a mind share. A very important marketing word is called as mind share. Unless we are on the top of the mind, tomorrow if there's an opportunity, they will not call us. In fact, I want to share a small example. And one of the companies where I was literally, talking to them for close to 3 years, they've not even given one business. They will not even pick up calls. They will not even reply to my emails. But then the kind of digital presence I had, suddenly one day they called me and gave a huge order for a year. So I got a 1 year PO released altogether. I think that is the power of digital marketing. So in my view, sales and marketing, especially from the digital angle for training and consultants, are very important. And what I will not do all these things myself. Right? Marketing, I should know about marketing, but I don't have to really do my marketing. That will involve huge time and effort for me. I have to really know about sales, but then if I have somebody to support me, I will take the particular support. So I have already outsourced my things to a couple of people who does digital marketing for me. I think taking support is important because the biggest challenge for trainers and consultants are time, right? Is our time channelized in the right direction is an important question.
Cool. Thanks, Rajni, for sharing that. And guys, there was a time when I met Rajni, and we spoke about time management, and he just gifted me an audiobook called 25 Hours a Day. Do you remember, Rajni?
Yes, absolutely.
So, Rajni, what have been your mantra of success?
See, 25 hours a day is a topic where I'm also writing a book on this topic called it guarantees every person at least 1 hour more time every day. So it is a result-oriented program. I've done about close to about 135 workshops on this particular topic. The idea is everybody has the same 24 hours, but some people have more time. So Why some people have more time in respect of 24 hours depends upon how they can manage their time. So this talks about how do you manage time effectively so that we will be able to release at least 1 hour every day for each one of us. So that's the concept between 25 hours a day. Now I've released a new topic called as Attention Please. The name of the program is called as Attention Please. So now we all have time, right? All of us at home. But a very important question, are you feeling overworked? Are you feeling overstressed? Are you able to complete what all you wanted to do? People from outside think you have a lot of time. People within the family think you have a lot of time, but do you still have time? So this Attention Please program talks about the important aspects of paying attention. Many people say, I know we have to pay attention, but my question is, do you know how to pay attention? So this program talks about how to pay attention with simple, practical tips and techniques surrounded by a powerful framework. So that's what I've recently launched, especially for the remote context. The name of the program is Attention Please.
Attention, please.
Yeah.
Are you doing this for only for corporates or also for?
No, I'm launching it also for public, which will come in next 2-3 weeks. I'm planning to do an open house for all of you.
Okay, I think just leave a link, give a link below, people who are interested, probably a Google form link or something, so that they can just fill their details if they're interested for that. So when you launch it, you already know that, okay, these are the people who are interested, and you can interact with them.
Sure, Ankit, done. We'll do this. Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Rajni, we discussed about performance, we discussed about productivity, we also discussed about success. And the topics which we were touching so far was sales, marketing, managing your time, priority management, attention management, and things like that. Now, coming to training, I have seen you that you are like a charmer at training. You are one of the best trainers I have ever seen. What are the key ingredients to become a great trainer?
The key ingredients of becoming a tough question. Key ingredients of becoming a great trainer. Or at least I'm also, in that path, definitely I will not say that I've reached, I'm just also learning along with each one of you. But at least what I think is, this is a profession without passion, it will become extinct. So passion plays a very important key role in becoming a key trainer or one of the best trainers. Because this cannot be like a day-to-day job. So if this job is taken just to earn money, I think you're out of the race already. So passion is a very, very important. It should drive within. It's been 6 years. Even now, I cannot sleep the next day I have a program. I can't sleep. I have to really, really think about it. I prepare a lot. In fact, for a program like presentation skills, I think I've done about 189 workshops on presentation skills till now. And every program I have to prepare the previous day. Otherwise, the program will not go well the next day. So I think key to really preparation, becoming extremely disciplined. The last factor is training has to come from the heart, which means if I'm not doing what I'm teaching, I'll be out of the race. So the biggest challenge for me is to really first really implement whatever I want to teach and then teach. And then you see the whole flare happening. So I have taken a vote that I will not teach anything which I'm not implementing in real life. So each and every concept, I'm very, very cautious and careful that only after I implement it, I actually teach. I think the whole process, what I like is I also becoming a better person. Failing, learning, becoming better. So training is, for me, is one. And my name of my company is Win-Win. I chosen a name with a very important reason, because especially from the training consulting angle, you're helping others to win, to become better. And in the whole process of helping others to win, you also actually become better. So it's actually a win-win. That's why I call this company as Win-Win Leadership Academy. So my mantra is, again, quickly to summarize, passion, I think a discipline to do a lot of hard work. And third is, first, am I implementing it? So I always measure with something called implementation index. What is my implementation index on this particular topic? It's 7 out of 10. How do I move to 8 out of 10? And then start also telling others.
Wow, amazing, Rajni. So what's your life like a trainer?
Like my wife calls me. I'm also a trainer at home. So somehow that comes it naturally even at home, that when I tell a small concept to my family, I'll start with the storytelling, for example. I'll draw something and then I'm making sure everybody understands it. So I'm also a trainer at home, which I want to really slowly come out of it. So life as a trainer, I think very important focus for me is health, because the whole investment was in myself. Health becomes a very, very important aspect. So I make sure I take care of my health properly. So I do some exercises, yoga. This is very, very consistent. Even though I have a program the next day, I make sure I take care of the health. Diet, I play a very important role with respect to the diet. And then at least learning something every day for at least 30, 45 minutes is what I'm focusing on right now. Okay. And how I can add more value to others, how I can innovate is a constant process. So I'm a trainer. I also at home. That's my short answer.
Nice, nice. So Rajni, story time now. I know you are a good storyteller. So three stories as a trainer. One should be a funny story which you have faced during your any of your training sessions. The next is a failure story. What's your failure story from a training point of view? And the third one is a success story. What's your success story? Something which was really like out of the blue success for you as a trainer. So three stories.
What is the first one, Ankit?
Some funny story. What happened? Any crazy story you want to share from when you give
Personal
a training
life?
session? Or from
Personal life.
when you're delivering a training session.
Yeah, sure. Okay, first story I will share. I was doing a program for TAFE. It's a company, they're in the automotive sector. So I was doing a program for all the senior managers and vice presidents. So at the end of the day, one person came to me and said, Rajni, I like your training, but it is definitely not so impactful as I wanted to be. And I asked him, what do you mean by impactful? You know what he said? He said, Rajni, your training should be like Al-Qaeda trainings. Okay? They train people to even give life, they sacrifice their life for others. And all these people undergo training. So you have to go at least understand the logic or the algorithm behind how people are training and make such an impact. I will never forget that incident which I had.
What is your response on that?
I said, sir, definitely I will learn out of it and use for a constructive purpose, not for a destructive purpose, but for a constructive purpose. But I love that phrase which you said. People are trained enough to really make such an impact, to even give their lives. A classical example is Taj, right? With Taj 2008 Mumbai attack, the kind of things the Taj, for example, the restaurant people or the managers, the staff at the hotel showed is because they've been trained so well. So training becomes a very, very important part of it. So that is one important thing I will not forget. Incident one.
Amazing. In fact, I have a follow-up question immediately here, right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I had kept this question for later, but let me ask right now because it's connected with this.
Yeah.
Why do clients fail?
Why do?
Okay, so I'll give you the context for my question before.
Yeah.
So as a coach, as a trainer, you get a chance to train a lot of people. You get a chance to even do one-to-ones with a lot of people, even do coaching with a lot of people. But still you feel that, okay, given a training to a group of people, some people, they actually use the training and succeed. Some people, the same environment, the same training, and they fail. Why do you see this disconnect? Why do clients fail?
Second, probably I'll answer this question with my second story because my second story is exactly targeting this, Ankit. Okay, so I'm doing a program. I think initially when I started my career, I think it's the second year of my career. So the topic was leading without title. I still remember this topic. So how do you actually influence even without title? I go there and I deliver this program for about a half a day. And I felt so happy because I did a great job from this training and everything went on well. I've delivered this program n number of times, so I did the program very well according to me. But at the end of the program, not even a single person clapped for the program, not even a single person came and shook a hand with me, because normally this happens after every program. And everybody's face was so disappointed. And I was like, really surprised, man, why did this happen? People stood up and said the training was not effective at all. I was really surprised because I've done this program multiple times. And people are saying that they're very disappointed. Then when I actually understood the reason, what happened, the topic and the expectation set was not relevant. But the expectations, what they had, and the expectation of the topic was not connecting with them. When I said lead without title, they didn't know what will come into the content. And because they didn't know what will come into the content, they had all different expectations. And since they all had totally different expectations, and what I delivered was not even matching with them, they felt the training was a complete failure. That was a big lesson learned for me, because I lost a client because of that aspect. Then I thought that I have to really do a thorough analysis before I customize any program. The same program should be delivered differently for different audiences based on what they need. So I think the need part of it, I started really working on after that failure for me, which happened. And I can't forget that incident. I think these failures are great lessons for life.
How do you tackle these failures, Rajni, when you lose a client?
Yeah, I think once the client says now we deliver a program, I do 3 interviews. One I do with the participants. I do a sampling with the participants, really asking them what do they expect. So I do a call with them. Second, I do the call with the participants manager, asking what are the expectations. Third, I do the call with the learning and development manager. So I do like a pyramid approach, and then get all the needs from everybody, and then design the whole program out of it. So this small technique has really, really helped me not to face the same situations earlier, what I faced earlier.
Nice. So now third story, success story.
Success story. Okay, what is my success story till now? Okay, from the training angle. Okay, that is a difficult question to really bring in a storyline to a success story. Okay, let me share one story. This is when I started. Ankit spoke to you about the program called 25 Hours a Day. I'm launching my training career. So I did a program in Times of India. And in Times of India, when I did a program, there were no many participants for the program. So what I did was I did a free invite to all the HR managers of different companies to just come and attend free of cost. Okay, and they resisted, but then I really persisted that they should attend the program. So I had different HR managers coming in from different programs, totally a complete investment, no gain for me. Only 2 participants who paid for the program attended, but all the 20 participants were for different industries. Just because I made that investment, believe me, the 25 hours workshop became one of my flagship programs. And in that particular year, I remember 60% of my revenue came from that particular program, because all these HR managers went to their companies, told about this particular programs. Multiplication of batches started happening just because of that one incident. So I think sometimes investment is important to make. Investment need not be only money, but also with respect to time and effort. So that's how I launched my first program, which really became a huge hit. I also did another thing from that program. I did a 2-minute teaser video on the whole program, and that became my marketing videos, especially with respect to testimonials. I think if you work with Ankit, he will always tell you, get testimonials with your clients. Yes, a very, very, very important aspect. And these testimonials played a very important role. So next time when somebody asks me a program, all I have to send is this 3-minute video to them. That's how my business grew, especially on this topic.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing that, Rajni. A lot of trainers actually feel that, okay, how do I penetrate into B2B market? And one of the strategies which Rajni shared, saying that, do a free program, put an investment, call the HR managers, take the testimonies, create a social proof and all these things. And it's not just one thing. You can do multiple things and you see what's working. And something which, when it works, put more effort into it and get the success in.
Absolutely.
So Rajni, you have been an inspiration for me, and we keep interacting. Who is your inspiration?
My inspiration is my mentor. His name is Mr. Srinivasan Ranganathan. We call him Ranga. He's a professor with the Indian School of Business. He's a visiting professor. He runs a foundation called as Inside Out Foundation. And my complete journey till now, whatever I'm here in the 6 years, I think it is completely because of him. So I owe whatever I am today to him. For me, if you want to become an entrepreneur, 2 things have really helped. One is a forum called BNI. Ankit spoke to you about business networking. You need to know people. Without knowing people, however good you are, I don't think it's going to make a difference. So BNI played a very crucial role for me for the first 5 years of my career, especially to understand contacts and networking. I mean, another very, very important factor for me, or this becomes the first factor, is choosing a mentor. Uh, According to me, if you don't have a mentor, I think you have to really search for a mentor. If you search for a mentor, you will get a mentor, right? There's a beautiful quote which says, "When the learner is ready, the teacher appears." And for me, Mr. Srinivasan Ranganathan agreed to mentor me, and I think that's one of the greatest blessings I have. And he's still mentoring me even now. And so I owe all my success from the entrepreneurship side to him. Okay. So he's been my greatest inspiration.
How did you approach him to become your mentor?
So when I was working in SAP, he was my trainer, and then we were in touch. And then when I decided to move out of SAP, I reached out to him, and he didn't respond to me. I reached out to him again, he didn't respond to me. I reached out to him again, and he didn't respond to me. So this to and fro was happening for close to about 3 to 6 months. Until 6 months, every 2 weeks I used to call him. He will not reply. He will not respond to my email, and I felt very disappointed. But I said I will not leave. So every 2 weeks I used to write an email, text him, call him. After 6 months, he agreed. He wrote a small mail saying that I agreed to mentor you. And when I met him for the first time, I asked him, why did it take 6 months to really say, okay? You know what he said? Many of them, I want to really know how serious you are about your career. Okay. There are very few people who are actually serious about their career. Everybody wanted mentorship, but they don't take it seriously. As a mentor, I have to invest a lot of my time and effort with you. And I have to really know whether you are a capable person for it. And since you're really showing so much of persistence, and I want to really support you in this whole journey. And that's how he agreed to you. That's why I always say when the learner is ready, a teacher appears in front of you. So mentorship, friends, is very, very key. You have to choose a right mentor. And if you start searching for a right mentor will appear to you. That's my very strong belief.
And I think, one of the things that you mentioned, and uh, it's really downplayed in the society, is persistence.
Yeah.
If you have a dream, you need to have that persistence to follow up. If you have, like how Rajni, he wanted Ranga to be his mentor, and he kept following up for 6 months. He didn't leave that. He kept persistent. So persistence is the key to success. And this thing is actually downplayed so much. Like people try to do something, they fail, and they just leave it out. But the key to success is multiple failures.
Well said, Ankit. Absolutely.
Thank you, thank you. So Rajni, what's your next big goal?
My big goal is definitely, I see virtual medium can touch many people across the world. So I think I'm learning every day on how to make a great impact to virtual medium. So my next play game is definitely virtual sessions. That's what I'm really tuned and excited towards it.
Amazing, amazing. So, 1 hour is already over, and I didn't even realize 1 hour is over. I just saw the watch now, and I'm saying, oh my God, we've already crossed 1 hour. It was so nice talking to you, Rajni. And I don't want to take more of your time, but any leaving thoughts for the listeners here?
So, leaving thoughts is training and teaching are really noble professions. I think making a very strong impact on others' lives. I think we have to really decide whether are we serious about it. So again, my only question is, why do you want to come into this profession? I think the why question has to be extremely clear. If that is clear and there's a substituted with passion around, I'm sure success is awaiting. I told you there are a lot of consultants and trainers in the country, but there are few good trainers and consultants, which means the space is still empty at the top, and each one of you can fill that particular space. And with that, that's my closing thought. And I want to really thank Ankit for giving me an opportunity. It was like running through a memory lane and sharing a lot of things. Thank you, Ankit. So, friends, I'm a very close friend of Ankit for many years. Why I like Ankit is I spoke to you about the why, right? The intention part of it is very, very, very clear and strong. And he's a person who comes with a lot of technical knowledge. So a coach with a technical law knowledge is a very rare combination, right? So I think please reach out to Ankit in his own area. I'm sure he'll be able to add a lot of value to each one of you.
Thank you so much, Rajni. And you've been an awesome speaker and a good podcast guest. Now, guys, I have mentioned about the Facebook group. I'll leave the link below. Do join that group, and that's exclusive for the people who listen and who listen the whole of the podcast. And the reason I ask you to join that is because I keep inviting guests there and share their secrets there, nuggets there. So I will also ask Rajni to once in a while, do drop down there as a guest and do share with people the live things which people can actually use it and just implement in their lives, in their career.
Sure, sure, sure. Okay, I will
Okay.
do that.
Now, thank you so much, Rajni. And with that, I'll end the podcast. And
Thank you
the
so much,
clouds are
Ankit, for the
here, the rain is
opportunity.
most welcome. Now the clouds are here, the rains are here, and the power cut have started happening. Before the lights switches off, I will turn the podcast off. So see you in the next one, guys. Every week I will be putting out a new podcast where I will be calling out the trainers, the coaches, the consultants across the globe, and who will be sharing how they work out, how they work on their business, and how they are successful. Thank you, Rajni, and I'll see you later.
Thank you, Ankit. Take care. Bye bye. Thanks all. Bye bye.